Discover how a single mom's heartwarming care transformed a paraplegic millionaire's life forever. Sarah's heart raced as she walked home, the crisp autumn air biting at her cheeks. With every step, the weight of her 2 jobs pressed on her, pulling her down. But when she thought of Ben, her 7-year-old son with bright blue eyes and dreams of becoming a firefighter, she pushed on. That single thought buoyed her spirits. Later that evening, as she heated up leftover spaghetti for dinner, the smell filled their cozy kitchen, wrapping around them like a warm hug. When Ben's face lit up at the sight of his favorite meal, she felt the joy wash over her. Every struggle seemed worth it in that moment. But that chilly evening took an unexpected turn. As Sarah walked past the grand, looming mansion at the end of her block, she noticed a figure being wheeled out. A man, once polished and confident, now slumped in a wheelchair, his face shadowed by the deep folds of despair. Tyler, a well-known millionaire who had lost everything after a car accident, left him paralyzed. Instinctively, Sarah's heart tightened. She could see the isolation in his eyes, the painful struggle beneath the surface of wealth and prestige. Caught off guard by her own compassion, Sarah approached, gently offering to run errands he could no longer manage alone. "I know the neighborhood well. I could help," she said, hope lacing her voice. Yet, Tyler recoiled, pride poking against the threads of their growing tension. "What could you possibly understand about my struggles?" he snapped, bitterness clouding his words. The first few visits were like sparring matches, awkward exchanges filled with unspoken judgments about class and hardship. But as days passed, Sarah started bringing him home-cooked meals. With each dish, a subtle shift happened. She shared her stories, tales of late nights at the diner, the joy of laughter under a blanket fort, how she fought every day to keep Ben's dreams alive. She saw the flicker of understanding soften Tyler's sour expression. But then, life took another twist. One night, Ben fell ill, and Sarah sat by his bedside, fear clenching her heart. She didn't know if she could bear it. Torn between her devotion to her son and the connection she felt with Tyler, she pondered her next move. What would happen if she stepped away from Tyler's side in this moment of need? Guilt clawed at her, as she realized Tyler, too, was battling demons, his fortune meaningless compared to human connection. Just as she felt the pull to reach out, her phone rang with news of a family crisis that threatened to unravel everything they'd built. The vulnerability weighed heavy in the air, trapping them both in confusion. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Sarah stared into Tyler's eyes, sensing the storm brewing. Could they both find a way to balance their needs? The evening was growing dark, and inside her heart echoed a haunting question: would they let their paths intertwine despite the looming uncertainties? Stepping onto the fragile edge of their emerging bond, Sarah felt a stir of hope, wondering if they could together face their struggles and find solace in the simple beauty of human connection. Sarah's phone buzzed insistently, pulling her from her spiraling thoughts. She glanced at the screen. Her sister, Emily. Anxiety tightened around her chest, knowing family crises never arrived without an accompanying storm. "Not now," she muttered, but the call only grew louder in her mind. With a deep breath, she answered, "Sarah, you need to come home, we need to talk." Emily's voice was sharp, laced with urgency. "Is it about Mom?" Panic twisted in her stomach, memories of endless hospital visits crashing down like heavy waves. "Yes. She's not well, and if you don't come now, I don't know what we'll do." Each word felt like a jagged cut. Sarah's heart thundered as she imagined her mother struggling alone, needing them both more than ever. "I'm on my way," she whispered, knowing there wouldn't be time to explain her plans with Tyler tonight. With her heart racing, she hurried to gather her things, glancing briefly at Tyler, who hadn't moved through their conversation. His eyes met hers, and a part of her stirred with guilt. They had just begun to explore something new together, something that felt like it could mend both their broken pieces. But her family needed her. A profound instinct clawed at her to go where her heart demanded. "I have to leave," she said quickly, a lump forming in her throat. There's a family emergency. To her surprise, Tyler didn't respond with indifference or anger this time. Instead, his expression softened slightly, as if he understood. Family first, he said quietly. The words hung in the air, grounding them both for a moment. Torn between responsibilities, Sarah rushed to pack her bag and said the last of her goodbyes. I promise I'll come back and just go. Tyler interrupted gently, a flicker of understanding in his gaze. You do what you need to do. I'll be here. Sarah nodded, her heart heavy. She didn't want to leave him now. Not when there was a budding friendship wrapped in vulnerability and shared pain, yet life had its way of pulling us back to the familiar. The drive to her sisters felt interminable, her thoughts spinning like leaves caught in the wind. Each glance at the road reminded her she was stepping away from newfound courage. Moments with Tyler had become a small sanctuary, a bridge to healing for them both. Would he still welcome her when she returned? Arriving at Emily's home, the weight of dread settled in her stomach. The house was dark, save for a single light flickering in the front room. As she stepped inside, she was greeted by her sister's tear-streaked face, and the air was thick with tension and sorrow. Where is she? Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Emily gestured toward the back. In her room. The hesitance in Emily's demeanor only fueled Sarah's fear. She followed her sister's lead, the worry clawing at her insides with each step. When she reached her mother's room, the sight pierced her heart. Her mother lay frail and pale against the sheets, the fight draining from her. A monitor beeped softly, breaking the heavy silence. Mom. Sarah's voice trembled as she approached the bedside. For a brief moment, her mother's eyes flickered open, bewildered yet recognizing her presence. Sarah, sweetheart. Tears flooded Sarah's eyes. I'm here. I'm right here. In that heartbeat, she felt the full weight of her choices crash down. She had left Tyler to face the unknown, yet family was a bond like no other. But what if this moment also called for Tyler? Would she lose the hope for healing they shared, now that she put distance between them? As her mother's frail hand grasped hers, Sarah fought back the swell of emotion threatening to overflow. In that moment of quiet connection, she wondered how might they both be stronger if they leaned on one another? What would happen when she returned to Tyler? Would he understand her absence? Or would this fracture their fragile connection irreparably? The room was filled with tension, the weight of choices heavy in the air. But one thing was sure, Sarah knew she was at a crossroads. And at the heart of it all lay a desperate question. Could love blossom even amid the most trying storms? The sterile scent of the hospital mingled with the muted sounds of monitors and distant conversations as Sarah squeezed her mother's hand tightly. Each tick of the clock seemed to echo the urgency of the moment. The sickly pallor of her mother made Sarah's heart ache with an indescribable grief. She felt lost between the love for her family and the untested ties of her new life with Tyler. Sarah, her mother's voice was soft, fragile like the autumn leaves outside. You shouldn't have shoe, don't talk, Sarah pleaded, her throat tightening. I'm here now. Just rest. But even as she soothed her mother, the gnawing worry began to creep in. How long would she be here? Would she miss chances with Tyler that might never come again? Emily stood near the doorway, her face a mask of worry, waiting for the moment to pull Sarah aside. But not yet. Sarah needed this time, even if it was painful. She wanted to capture every second, a snapshot of love and vulnerability. Hours slipped by like sand through her fingers. The fading light outside filtered through the curtains, casting a soft glow in the dim room. Conversation dwindled as fatigue began to set in. The weight of her mother's condition pressed down, almost unbearable. Finally, Emily stepped forward. Can we talk? Her voice broke through Sarah's haze of emotion, urgency overtaking sadness. With one last reassuring glance at her mother, who had finally succumbed to a restless sleep, Sarah followed Emily out into the hallway. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, amplifying the thrum of anxiety in her chest. Do you think Emily hesitated, her eyes darting to the floor? Do you think we should consider hospice? The word hung in the air, heavy and final. It carved out a pit in Sarah's stomach, and she felt as though the ground had shifted beneath her. No, not yet. There is still hope. Emily sighed, frustration flickering across her face. But how much longer can we just hope, Sarah? We're not doctors. You know what Mom wants? She wants to stay with us as long as possible. Sarah snapped, anger and sorrow colliding. How can you say that? She's fighting. Emily's shoulders slumped in defeat. And we need to be realistic. It's not just about her. What about us? We're in this. Too, those words echoed in Sarah's mind, bringing clarity mingled with dread. Was Emily right? Would they have to make impossible choices soon? As silence engulfed them, Sarah thought once again about Tyler, standing there in the background of all this chaos. Could she really tell him about any of this? Would he still want to be part of her life if she brought all this baggage? I need a moment, Sarah finally said, retreating back toward her mother's room. She sensed Emily's eyes on her, but she needed space to breathe. When she stepped back inside, the sight of her mother brought a torrent of emotions: fear, love, helplessness. Slow-moving tears streamed down her face as she grasped her mother's hand again, feeling that bond interlaced deeper than either had ever imagined. Mom, I'm so scared. Her whisper choked in her throat. What am I going to do? But instead of an answer, her mother stirred slightly, her eyelids fluttering open. You'll be fine, Sarah. I know you will. Promise me you'll hold on to your dreams, Mom. Sarah cried. You have to keep fighting. I can't do this without you. A flicker of recognition crossed her mother's face. You're stronger than you think, and you must find your own path, sweetheart. As those words sank into her, a sense of urgency renewed hope in Sarah's heart. She understood now that while her mother needed her, she too needed to forge ahead. But what did that path look like? The question lingered as Sarah locked eyes with her mother, unsure of what came next, but knowing one thing for certain: her journey was intertwined with love, loss, and the necessity of moving forward. What if Tyler had a part to play in this unfolding story? Would her revelations lead her to stronger connections with both her family and him? With each heartbeat, Sarah knew the answers were just beyond reach, waiting for her to take the leap. The fluorescent lights cast a harsh glow on the sterile walls as Sarah sat down beside her mother again, heart heavy and mind racing. Each beep from the machines was a reminder of the fragility of life, a truth she wasn't ready to face. She held her mother's hand, the warmth of her skin, grounding yet fleeting. Her mother drifted in and out of rest, each moment filled with a strange, beautiful intimacy. Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that time was slipping away, and despite every instinct urging her to cling to the present, she knew deep down that she needed to begin thinking about the future. Mom, please, stay with me, Sarah murmured. The words felt inadequate, but they were all she could offer. I don't know how to move forward without you. Tears brimmed again, but she blinked them away angrily. She didn't want to break down here. Not in front of her mother, who needed her to be strong. Suddenly, a soft knock at the door startled her. Emily peeked in, her face softening at the scene before her. Is it okay if I come in? Yeah, Sarah said, her voice low, thick with emotion. Emily entered slowly, the weight of their unspoken concerns evident in her posture. Mom's resting. I thought maybe we could talk? Emily suggested, glancing at their mother's still form. Clearly, she was trying to find the right words, just like Sarah. About what? Sarah asked, her temper still simmering under the surface. Emily took a breath. About what's next. I know this is hard, Sarah, but we need to think practically. I don't want to think practically. Sarah's voice rose, anger hissing past the grief. She was done with practicality. She wanted hope, even if it felt absurd. I just want my mom to get better. I know, Emily replied, her voice edged with frustration. But we have to prepare for the worst. If her condition doesn't improve, stop. Please. Sarah interrupted, her voice breaking. The tears she had held back surged forth. Can't we just be here right now? Together? Can't we just hope? Emily stepped closer, her eyes softening. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm scared too. But I can't help but think about what happens next. If she doesn't, don't say it. Sarah sobbed, clenching her fists. The thought was unbearable. I'm trying to think about us, Sarah. We're going to have to handle everything, and it's not going to be easy. We'll figure it out together, Sarah insisted. But even as she spoke, doubt crept in, fear wrapping around her heart like frost on glass. What would their lives look like? Would Tyler still want her if her life descended into chaos? We'll get through it, one day at a time, Emily said softly, stepping forward and wrapping her arms around Sarah. It was a gesture of solidarity. They were in this together, and that made her feel just a little less alone. After a moment, Sarah pulled away, wiping her eyes fiercely. "You're right. It's just so overwhelming." They both turned their gaze toward their mother, fragile and vulnerable, yet battling on in her own way. "Maybe we should call Tyler," Emily suggested, her voice gentle now. "He might be able to help just with support." Sarah's heart sank at the thought of sharing this painful reality with him. She didn't want to bring him into their turmoil. Would he resent her for it? Or would he stand beside her, lifting burdens when they became too heavy? "He deserves to know," Sarah finally whispered, her voice breaking again. "Let us talk to him," Emily affirmed, giving Sarah's hand a reassuring squeeze. "You don't have to face this alone." Nodding, Sarah felt the uncertainty float in her chest. Would sharing her struggles with Tyler invite him closer, or drive him away? As she contemplated the thought, her mother stirred again, lips twitching into a small smile. It felt like a sign, a reminder tucked deep within. Perhaps leaning on others meant not simply accepting defeat. It was about finding strength in vulnerability and building bridges instead of walls. In that moment, a quiet determination began to blossom within Sarah. She had to reach out, both to Tyler and to her own dreams. But what if the next call changed everything? With that thought swirling in her mind, Sarah took a deep breath, ready to face whatever came next, starting with dialing Tyler's number. Would he be ready to meet her halfway in this journey? As Sarah's finger hovered over Tyler's name on her phone, a surge of anxiety gripped her. Here she was, on the precipice of reaching out. A simple tap could either solidify their bond or crack it under pressure. She wanted to believe it wouldn't matter to him, that her world felt like it was crumbling. But doubts crept in like shadows, taunting her with uncertainty. "Are you going to call him?" Emily asked, her voice a comforting murmur in the otherwise sterile room. "Yeah," Sarah replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Taking a deep breath, she pressed the number. The sound of ringing filled the silence and sharpened her heart's racing rhythm. Each ring echoed her anxiety, wrapping around her thoughts like a charging bull, ready to break through the gates of her mind. "Come on, Tyler, pick up," she whispered under her breath, urgency bubbling with a flicker of hope. Just as doubt began to claw away at her resolve, he answered. "Hey, Sarah, how is everything? Is your mom okay?" His voice was warm, grounding her amidst the swirling chaos. "Oh, it's complicated," Sarah stammered, her voice catching against the weight of the truth. "I'm at the hospital. Mama's not doing well." A pause lingered on the line, and she could almost feel him processing the gravity of her words. "I'm so sorry. I'm on my way. Just give me a bit." "No, Tyler, I don't want you to come," Sarah blurted, panic gluing her to the chair. "Why not?" His concern was unmistakable, a lifeline she desperately needed but feared to grasp. "Because it's a lot. It's heavy." She swallowed hard. "I don't want you to see me like this. I don't want you to feel burdened." "You're not a burden, Sarah." His voice was steady and unwavering, like the calm after the storm. "I want to help. I want to be there for you." As she listened, tears began to blur her vision again. Tyler's words pushed against the walls she had carefully constructed for herself. "I'm scared, Tyler." The admission slipped out, raw and unfiltered. "I don't know how to handle this. I don't want to lose her." "I'm not going anywhere, Sarah." There was a softness in his tone that melted her defensiveness, reminding her that she wasn't alone in this fight. "Let me support you. Let me be a part of it. You deserve someone in your corner." A long breath escaped her lungs as she felt the tension begin to dissolve in the presence of his kindness. But with every ounce of comfort, a pang of fear still clung to her heart. What ifs are just fears hiding under questions, and we can't let them dictate our lives, he interrupted gently. "Your mom wouldn't want you to carry this all by yourself." As she listened to him, something shifted within Sarah. The weight of vulnerability started feeling less like a burden and more like an exchange, a bridge being built between them. "Okay," she breathed, feeling a newfound determination spark inside. "I'd like that to have you with me. Then let me help. I'll be there as soon as I can." The call ended, but the warmth lingered, wrapping around her like a safety blanket. Emily watched as Sarah sat up a little straighter, her expression shifting from despair to resolve. It gave Sarah a momentary sense of peace she hadn't known she was craving. "What now?" Emily asked, a hint of hope flickering in her gaze. Sarah looked toward her mother, who remained still, yet somehow a pillar of strength. "Now we wait. And we hope." and I think I'm ready to lean on Tyler. Her heart fluttered with a strange mix of fear and excitement. Who knew what this next chapter would hold? The thought spun in her mind like autumn leaves caught in a gentle breeze, dancing toward the unknown. Just then, a doctor stepped through the door, a serious look etched on her face. "Sarah, Emily, we need to talk about your mother's condition," she said, her voice steady yet heavy with unsaid truths. Both sisters exchanged a glance, anxiety crawling back in. What did it mean? Were they truly prepared for what was next? The doctor's words hung in the air, each syllable sharp and slicing through the fragile calm. Sarah's heart pounded louder than the beeping machines, like a clock counting down to something monumental. Emily sat rigid now, her hands clenching nervously in her lap. "What is going on? Is it bad?" Sarah's voice trembled, filled with a raw, instinctual fear. The doctor took a moment. The seconds stretching like taffy, thick with unspilled emotion. "The situation is delicate. Your mother's condition has worsened. We recommend we prepare for the possibility of further interventions." Further interventions. The phrase echoed in Sarah's mind like a taunting ghost. It didn't sound good. "What does that mean?" she asked, looking straight into the doctor's eyes, searching for some glimmer of hope. "It means she may require surgery, and there are risks involved," the doctor explained. "We need to act quickly, but it's ultimately your mother's decision. She will need you to weigh in." Can we talk to her?" Emily asked, her voice breaking with emotion. "Yes, I'll give you a few moments. Just remember," her eyes softened, "she needs your strength right now." The doctor stepped back, leaving Sarah and Emily in a charged silence. The weight of their mother's life laid heavy on them, each moment ticking away almost painfully. "Sarah, what do we do?" Emily's voice cracked, the veneer of control slipping. "I don't know. I can't lose her, Em. I can't." The thought crushed Sarah's chest, twisting and tightening till it hurt to breathe. She turned to look at their mother, lying so still, her breath barely rising and falling under the sheets. Each inhale felt like a precious gift, yet so fragile. "I can't stand this," Emily sobbed, tears finally spilling over, blurring her vision. "I don't know how to be strong like you, Sarah." "I can't, then we'll be strong together," Sarah whispered fiercely. She reached for her sister's hand, squeezing it tightly. "We can't break now. Mom is fighting, we have to fight, too." A flicker of resolve ignited in Emily's eyes. "Okay, let us do it then." Just then, the door creaked open again, and this time it was a nurse. She smiled gently, but with a knowing sympathy. "You have some time to see her if you're ready. Just remember, it's important to listen to what she wants." Sarah nodded, her heart racing again, not with fear now, but with a fierce determination to uphold not just her wishes, but to show her mother that she wasn't alone. They stepped into the room together, the sterile scent of antiseptic hitting them. The sight of their mother's pale face made Sarah's heart ache. Taking a deep breath, she approached the bedside. "Mom," she said softly, "it's us. We're here." Her mother's eyes fluttered open, confusion lingering momentarily before recognition washed over her features. "Sarah, Emily," she murmured, her voice hoarse, fragile, yet still holding the remnants of its familiar warmth. A wave of relief flooded over Sarah, but it was mixed with dread. "We need to talk about what's next," Sarah began, inching closer, ready to navigate this difficult conversation. As they spoke, every word felt like casting a lifeline, threading their hearts closer against the uncertainty ahead. But something was beating like a drum in the back of Sarah's mind. It wasn't just about the decisions to come. It was about how brave they would have to be. They had to be strong. But the question lingered, echoing louder. Would they be strong enough to face what was coming? Just then, Sarah's phone buzzed in her pocket. The sudden sound startled her, pulling her focus. She fished it out quickly. It was a text from Tyler. "I'm here. I'll meet you at the entrance." Her heart raced. Tyler's presence felt like a safety net, and just like that, she was reminded she wouldn't have to do this alone. He was ready to support them. But before she could fully appreciate the significance of his support, the doctor re-entered the room, her expression grave again. "Sarah, we need your input on the options for your mother's treatment now." Fear coiled in Sarah's stomach. The future loomed ahead like a dark tunnel without a light. Were they truly ready to step forward into the unknown? With every moment counting, would she find the strength to make the choice that could change everything? The doctor's voice was steady but underscored with urgency. We have to decide soon. Your mother is in critical condition, and her time is limited. It's important to carefully weigh the options that are available to her. Sarah felt the air grow heavier, crisp like an unyielding autumn day. She glanced at Emily, whose eyes mirrored the confusion and fear inside her. Mom, she whispered, hesitating to push too hard just yet. What do you want? We'll follow your lead. Her mother's gaze drifted to the ceiling, as if she was searching for clarity in the patterns above. I want to be here for you too. Her voice was faint, almost a ghost of its former strength. You are, Mom. You are here, Emily nearly shouted, emotions spilling over. But she bit her lip, trying to rein in the devastation that threatened to burst. Listen, Sarah, her mother continued, glancing away. If the surgery means a better chance, then I need you to trust the doctors. Mom, Sarah said, it's your life, and we'll support whatever you choose. But the risks, sometimes the biggest leap is the one forward, her mother replied, her voice steadying. Sarah felt a flicker of hope as she saw a spark ignite in her mother's eyes. Let us do it, Emily said, tears streaming down her cheeks. She squeezed her mother's hand, as if clinging to every precious moment. Whatever it takes, we will be there. As they held the moment, enveloped by overwhelming uncertainty and hope, Sarah felt her phone buzz again. She hastily looked at the screen. It was from Tyler. I'm at the entrance. Let me know when you're ready. Are you okay with this, Mom? Sarah pressed, her nerves dissolving just a little as the warmth spread at the thought of Tyler nearby. Yeah, I am, her mother said, voice steadier as she looked both daughters in the eye. Surgeons can work miracles, but I can't do this without your strength. I want to try? Then we try, Sarah affirmed. She squeezed her mother's hand tightly, willing her strength into the fragile connection between them. The doctor reappeared, a file clutched in her hands. Have you reached a consensus? We need to move forward soon. Mom has decided she wants to go through with the surgery, Sarah stated, her voice strong and unwavering. We'll support her through this. The doctor nodded, a flicker of relief crossing her face. Good. I'll inform the surgical team. Let us make sure everything is in order. As the doctor left, Sarah found herself holding her breath. The weight of the decision filled the room. It was a choice that would ripple through all their lives. She looked back to her mother, searching for a hint of fear or doubt. Instead, she found resolve. I love you both, her mother said, her smile soft and enduring. We love you, Mom, they echoed together, drawn tighter as a family in that moment. As the nurse prepared for the transfer, Sarah felt a swell of gratitude for Tyler's support approaching in the hallway. She knew she needed him now, needed to share this moment and gather strength from his presence, just as she planned to gather it from her mother. They were entering a new phase, a crossroads defined not just by fear, but by hope, the kind that blossomed in the darkest of moments. But somewhere, lurking beneath the surface, was the fear of what lay ahead. Sarah, just promise me that no matter what happens, you'll take care of each other, her mother said, eyes earnest. I promise, Sarah said, her heart throbbing. As they wheeled her mother out of the room and into the unknown, Sarah took a moment to breathe deeply. Tyler's reassuring presence would give her the safety she needed to face the uncertainty in the midst of this whirlwind. Would the promise they made be enough to hold them together when the final decisions closed in around them? The thought hovered in the air as they crossed the threshold, and for the first time, Sarah felt like she might just have the answer. The hallway stretched endlessly before Sarah as they walked alongside the gurney, their footsteps echoing off the sterile walls. A cacophony of machines pierced the otherwise solemn atmosphere, a reminder of the gravity of the moment. Each beat of her heart seemed to synchronize with her mother's fading breaths. Sarah squeezed Emily's hand tightly, seeking comfort from her sister amidst the chaos of uncertainty. As they reached the waiting area outside the surgical suite, Sarah spotted Tyler leaning against the wall, his expression an odd mix of concern and relief. She felt a wave of warmth at the sight of him, the way he instantly stood a little straighter when she approached, as if she were grounding him. They hadn't spoken much since this ordeal began. Both of their lives had come to a standstill while they waited for her mother to make her decision. Hey, he said softly, his eyes searching hers. I'm here. How are you holding up? Trying to be strong, Sarah replied, her voice choked. It's just a lot. She felt the tears prick her eyes, but quickly blinked them away. I can only imagine. He took a step closer, enveloping her in a gentle hug. But I know you're stronger than you think. If you need anything, I'm right here. Sarah nodded, but didn't respond. Instead, she felt the weight of her emotions pressing in. She could almost hear the echo of her mother's voice, urging her to keep faith, and yet the fear of losing her loomed larger than anything else. After what felt like an eternity, the operating room doors swung open. A nurse stepped out and met them with a calming smile that did little to ease the storm inside Sarah. "We'll take good care of her," she assured, then looked from Sarah to Emily, her eyes full of empathy. "It'll take a few hours, but I'll keep you updated. Why don't you take a moment to breathe?" As the nurse returned to her duties, Tyler gently ushered the sisters to a nearby waiting room. The plush chairs and muted colors were a stark contrast to the tension ringing in Sarah's ears. "Do you want to talk about anything else?" Tyler ventured, sensing Sarah's need for distraction. "Like what?" she asked, her voice low. "Like the newest movie? Or the weather? Or just what we're going to do after this?" he suggested. "You're going to want to eat something." Sarah smirked despite herself. "You really think I have an appetite? Hey, you might surprise yourself. Food helps." He grinned, which sent a flicker of warmth through her. "We could order in a giant pizza afterward. Your favorite, right?" The mention of pizza pulled a laugh from her lips, the kind of laughter that felt momentarily freeing. There was something invigorating about being reminded of normalcy, of laughter, even in this chaos. Emily leaned forward, her eyes sharp and bright, countering the hopeful warmth. "But what if the surgery doesn't go as planned?" Sarah shot her sister a look of quiet admonishment. "Don't say that. I'm just being realistic," Emily said, defensive. "I know, but we can't let fear dictate this. Mom believes in this. Let us just focus on what we can control right now," Tyler interjected gently, taking charge of the shifting emotions in the room. But a shadow flickered in the corner of Sarah's heart, a question nagging at her. What if they lost the very foundation of their family today? As the minutes stretched on, each second felt like a lifetime. Caught in a whirlwind of hope and dread, Sarah clung to the thought of her mother laughing at silly jokes over pizza, a fleeting fishing expedition they planned for when this was all over. If her mother could be strong, then so could they. Then, just as she settled into a fragile state of peace, the surgical doors opened again. A figure clad in scrubs stepped out, her expression unreadable. Sarah's heart raced. The moment of truth had arrived. What would the surgeon's words bring? Would they usher in relief or shatter the fragile hope she had clung to? Sarah's breath caught in her throat as the surgeon stepped closer. The soft whir of machines faded into the background, replaced by an all-consuming silence that wrapped around her like a heavy blanket. Time seemed to stretch, each second counting down to a moment that could change everything. "Sarah?" The doctor's voice cut through her fog, steady and calm. "I need to talk to you and your sister." With that, he gestured toward a quiet corner of the waiting area. Every muscle in Sarah's body tensed. Tyler squeezed her shoulder, offering a silent promise of support as the three of them moved to the side. Emily's strident chatter faded into concerned silence. Her eyes darted between them, trying to read the unspoken words flitting across the doctor's face. "Your mother's surgery went well," the surgeon began, his voice a soothing balm to the jagged anxiety threatening to overtake Sarah. "We were able to perform the procedure as planned, and I'm very optimistic about her recovery." Relief washed over Sarah like a wave crashing on the shore, pushing back fear and panic. She felt tears prick at her eyes, but this time they were tears of hope. "Can we see her?" Emily asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Yes, but she's still in recovery and might be a bit groggy," the surgeon stated, a small smile breaking through his professional demeanor. "Our team will monitor her closely, and she should be back in her room shortly." As Sarah and Emily absorbed the news, a shaky laugh escaped Sarah's lips. She felt a rush of gratitude so intense it almost left her breathless. "She is going to be okay, I knew it," Emily exclaimed, throwing herself into Sarah's side, and for a moment, the heavy burden lifted. Tyler grinned, but his eyes held a depth of emotion that stirred something deeper within Sarah. The three of them moved back to the waiting area, thoughts swirling in Sarah's mind. She could imagine her mother waking up, the familiar sound of her laughter filling the room, the warmth of their shared moments flooding back. The fishing trip, the pizza nights, the little squabbles over chores. I have to go call Dad, Emily exclaimed suddenly, pulling out her phone and hurrying away. Left alone with Tyler, a sudden wave of vulnerability washed over her. She turned to him, her heart thumping. What if she doesn't recover the same? What if this changes everything? Tyler stepped closer, his presence steady and reassuring. Change is scary, Sarah, but sometimes it brings new beginnings. You'll adapt. You all will. As his words sank in, Sarah found herself wondering if she was ready for something different, yet still holding on to the past. The edges of her understanding began to blur. Would their lives still be as they were if her mother came back changed? Before she could muster a reply, Emily returned, her face lit with excitement. They're prepping Mom to come back to her room now. A rush of adrenaline coursed through Sarah. Part of her was eager to run toward her mother, to feel that familiar embrace and know everything would be all right. But as they moved together toward the nurse's station, excitement gave way to a restless uncertainty. Would they really be all right? And then, from the other end of the hallway, a low beep echoed, a sound that pierced through the ambient chatter and sent a jolt through Sarah. There was her mother's favorite nurse rushing toward them, eyes wide with urgency. The moment felt charged, like the calm just before a storm. Something's wrong, Sarah whispered, dread settling deep within her chest. Before either girl could take a step forward, the nurse was upon them, her expression serious. Sarah, Emily, we need to talk. In an instant, the fragile peace of the moment shattered. What new twist awaited them on this turbulent journey? Sarah felt her heart drop as the nurse's words echoed in her ears. It was as if the room had been sucked of all warmth, leaving behind only a chilling grip of fear. She exchanged a frantic look with Emily, both of them waiting for the news that would inevitably rush in like a tidal wave. Your mother has experienced a minor complication during recovery, the nurse began, her tone professional but gentle. Please, follow me. I'll explain everything. Panic coursed through Sarah. Minor? She repeated, almost laughing at the absurdity now. It felt like everything was teetering at the edge of a knife, waiting to crack under pressure. The world sharpened, forcing everything else into the background as she took a deep breath and grabbed Emily's hand. Together they followed the nurse, the cold fluorescent lights overhead casting a harsh glow on their faces. Every step felt heavy with dread, every sound amplified to an unbearable degree. Therefore, when they entered the small conference room, Sarah's stomach tightened like a clenched fist. The nurse motioned for them to sit. This complication can be resolved, she said, her voice calm and steady amidst the brewing storm inside Sarah. We need to monitor her closely, but we recommend further tests to ensure her safety. What does that mean? Emily asked, her voice shaky, barely above a whisper. It means your mother is stable, but because of the complication, we want to observe her condition for a while longer. She may need additional medications and further monitoring. The nurse explained, her eyes darkened with empathy. Sarah glanced at Emily, whose tear-brimmed eyes mirrored her own fear. A cold weight settled in her stomach. She imagined her mother's delicate fingers holding on to life, her weak smile still powerful even in this moment of uncertainty. Can we see her? Sarah asked, her words barely pushing through the lump in her throat. Of course. She is still in recovery, but you can stay by her side once she's moved to her room, the nurse reassured, though she knew their anxiety wouldn't easily disappear. As they stepped back into the main corridor, the air felt thick and oppressive. Each minute stretched painfully long as they waited. It felt as though the universe held them in a silent, unyielding limbo, dangling their hopes and fears on a tightrope. Eventually, they saw a familiar gurney wheeling toward them. Mom. Emily rushed forward before Sarah could even process what was happening. As the gurney stopped, a wave of relief washed over her momentarily, only to be eclipsed by the reality of her mother's ashen face. Hey, beautiful girls, her mother murmured, her voice weak but filled with a flicker of warmth that enveloped them like a hug. Sarah felt tears prick at her eyes. She had waited for this, desperately wished for it, but was overwhelmed by the reality she faced. That's our mom, Emily said, grinning through tears, her heart finally lifting as they approached the gurney. I'd hug you both if I could, her mother replied, the corners of her mouth twitching into a soft smile. The doctors say I'm their favorite patient, just a bit feisty today. The humorous defiance pierced through the fog of gloom, warming the unsteady room. They leaned closer, listening to every word. "Mom," Sarah started, searching for words. "They said there was a complication." Her mother's eyes softened. "I heard them, but I'll be okay. Please, don't worry about me." "I can't help it," Sarah admitted, feeling tears spill over. Emily squeezed their mother's hand gently. "We just want you to be all right," she said, the weight of their shared fears hanging thick in the air. Her mother took a breath, steadying herself. "You two have to trust me, and trust these doctors." Her voice was steadier now, the courage in her gaze cementing the urgency of the moment. Before Sarah could respond, Tyler stepped into the room, his expression a mix of concern and warmth that enveloped her. "I'm here," he declared softly, moving closer as though to shield them all from their fear. "Mom, this is Tyler," Sarah said. He nodded, catching the weight of the situation. "I'm here for you," he whispered, stepping closer to Sarah, grounding her in the storm. Seeing the support he brought, Sarah felt a flicker of hope ignite inside her. Maybe this was exactly what they needed, a gathering of love woven tight, resilient enough to withstand even the heaviest of burdens. "Tyler, thank you for being here," her mother said, her eyes brightening with gratitude. "I may need a lot of help getting back to my feet, but I'm ready to fight." "I'll help you, no matter what," Tyler replied, sincerity etched into his very being. Sarah beamed, a glimmer of irrational hope capturing her heart. Could they truly navigate this tunnel of unknowns together? Just as they settled around their mother, the nurse re-entered, emitting an air of calm authority. "She's being moved to her room now," she said, gesturing to the orderly. "Follow me. I'll guide you there." As they began to walk down the corridor, Sarah felt a swell of love and determination wash over her, buoying her heart against the uncertain tides ahead. Whatever the outcome, they would fight together. They would lean into the hope of recovery, building their lives anew, piece by precious piece. And in that moment, as they huddled close to their mother, Sarah recognized something profound. Love doesn't just flicker in the dark. It spreads, kindling light against the shadows, urging them forward. They would face this challenge together. Together was how they would stay strong. Together was their vow to each other, a promise draped in love that transcended any uncertainty ahead. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this incredible ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread the love.